Welcome back to The Great Expanse by John Bat 426 here on YouTube. It's a pleasure to always to record these videos, to edit them, to put my unique spin on them for you guys. All right, as you see, I've got company. I got my two nephews. Introduce yourself.
Thomir.
Lamont, aka Sim,
Right.
aka Sim Duncan, aka Sim Hardaway, aka Sim Jones, aka Iceberg Sim.
It's not say Iceberg Simp, but it's okay. He does all the music. He's responsible for the funky tracks that you'll be hearing accompanying this video. But you've already clicked on the thumbnail, so you know what this video is about. It's about Invincible. This is season 2. It was called, what, My Life Lesson to You? Or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
He'll probably put it up on the screen for y'all. In case y'all
My
didn't
life.
remember.
Yeah, something like that. But let's just go off the rip. Like, give me your thoughts on the episode.
So, I personally loved it. It left a lot to be desired in a good way. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm ready for the next episode already. One thing I was saying to John earlier, as soon as the episode ended, I was saying like what I love about Invincible, and I also love about the boys because they both had this in common. They always just take the extreme. Like they always go all the way and think of the wildest thing, like the worst thing that can happen. They always go in that direction, and it just leaves you wondering like, okay, so like where do y'all go from here? It's like everything's messed up now. So it's like, what are y'all gonna do from here? And
right. It's like no wasted motion in it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they always end up finding a way to turn it, like to keep the narrative going, and that's what I admire about the people who write these shows. Like they always find a way to just take what seems impossible and be like, all right, so here's what's gonna happen after that. Like
right.
I admire
in accordance with like the I'm reading like the Invincible, the compendium. It's like I think it's like 75 issues in one book. The whole Angstrom Levy thing runs for like issues and issues. Like I didn't even know that what happened at the end in the episode is what's going to happen in the comics. I'm telling you, it's like just bless you. It's like episode after issue, of comic after comic. It's like, all right, Angstrom Levy and the Mauler twins. What are they doing? What are they doing? I have no idea of what they're doing just by reading the comics. But but based on the animated series, like they got right to it. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't waste any time. Like after that happened, like we were like, all right, what are they gonna do from here? Because cause the whole Angstrom Levy, or is it Levy? I think it's Levy or Levy.
Wait, do we want to spoil it for the people?
What?
The episode.
Yeah,
It don't matter, right?
Yeah.
So look, if you watched it, man, the thing blew up that Angstrom Levy was on, that the Mauler twins helped him set up, and it looked like it just killed everybody.
Right.
So,
and the Mauler twins are like Hulks.
Yeah.
So if you're melting Hulks, that's like a lot of energy.
And it just looked like because Angstrom Levy has all these different versions of him from these different universes that he introduced the Mauler twins to and everything. He was like, "Welcome to the family,"
Right.
And it seemed like his whole family just died right there. So, like to see that just happen, like dang, it just all exploded in one spot. Like what now?
I'll say this: it might be a nitpick or whatever, but like his grand plan was to absorb all the memories of the Angstrom Levys from different universes.
Yeah.
That don't make much sense.
That doesn't make sense to me either. I don't see why.
All right, it's not a discredit to the show, but I'm just like, that's a really like a grand plan. Like couldn't you just like set up like a council of Angstroms like across all these dimensions?
I feel like he could.
Like why would he have to have like all the information, all the know-how of like all these different? I didn't really get that. And it's like if that was like the machine, bless you, and if that's where like the comic book is going, it's almost like a kind of a disappointment that was really what they spent issue after issue trying to build. So what did you think of the episode?
It just Invincible, just like the boys, it has a way of like just drawing you in, like with the storytelling. You know what I'm saying? After we watched what happened with last season, Omni-Man basically killing half the city or half the population along with Mark trying to stop him. I like the fact that they capitalize on that and they show us those little things like the depression that his mom is going through, and the depression that even Mark has to deal with, and the feeling like he needs to, kind of heal the city and feels like he's responsible, even though he was the one that was trying to stop his dad. Right. He feels like, you know, it's his fault that the city got destroyed. I like that type of storytelling because it feels real, feels like real life. Right. And I like how they started the episode completely left field because I didn't know what was going on. I thought that first thing I said when I watched the episode, I'm like, this has to be a dream. Mark working with Omni-Man. I'm like, what? Like, wasn't he like fighting his dad? But then it completely showed like, okay, this is what could happen. You know what I'm saying? Or another dimension where it did happen.
Right. And while we were watching it, I told Thomir, I said, this is not a dream. You know what I mean? Because like I said, based on the books, you know, I am in the process of reading the Invincible story. And one of the different dimensions that Angstrom Levy visits, you know, all that stuff happens. Right. So, but yeah, I totally agree. Like the way they just tell stories and the way like I was just telling Sim and Thomir, like it has to be at least 10 issues. The whole Angstrom Levy thing. Yeah, so the fact that they like brought it just into the first episode of the season, it just shows that they really know how to take the important substances and like cut out all the fat, you know what I mean, and all the necessary stuff
that wouldn't work in an actual television show or a movie, you know,
right?
Any watching medium, you know. I gotta commend them, man. I gotta commend them. They know how to put it all together.
Right, because even before we started watching it, like, who was it? You said like most of the times the books are better than like the movies. Did you say that? And I totally agree with that. Like, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but like, I like read the Lord of the Rings, the books, and then when I watched the third movie, I was like disappointed by the third movie, the Lord of the Rings, because I already read the books. That is not the case with Invincible. The animated series, to me, is so much better than the comic book. You know how to really get to the action and keep like the viewing audience engaged.
To believe it or not, John, that's not a blasphemous take, because like I done heard a lot of other people who watch the show and are fans of the comics and the show say the same thing, that the show is better than the actual books themselves. So like it's really not blasphemous concerning Invincible. Like it's just kind of true. Like the people who made the show just kind of tells the people who wrote the comic book, or the guy who wrote the comic book, they tell the story a little bit better. I feel like, you know.
Right, because like one thing that I'll spoil from the comic books, like Damien Darkblood is like a nobody in the comic books. And in the first season, like his story arc was like one of the more intriguing story arcs, and he was one of the more captivating characters to me. Remember Damien Darkblood?
I think so.
Like at the end, like they like exorcised him, and like, he like went back to hell or whatever.
The demon dude.
Right, but he's like one of the first people to like all right, Omni-Man is probably he was the first one that like kind of broke the case. You know what I mean? Like Omni-Man, you know, like he like visited the house.
Yep.
That was like the Nightcrawler type dude, right?
Yeah, but he had a gut for some reason, which is interesting.
He was Nightcrawler and Hellboy mixed.
Exactly. And in the comic books, when I read it, I was so disappointed by Damien Darkblood. Yeah. He comes around in the comic books like a month after everything happens. It's like, oh, Omni-Man was responsible for the murder of the Guardians of the Globe. I'm like reading it like, wait a minute, they made him this lame whack detective?
Like he did not matter in the comic books the way he did in the actual show.
Right.
Like his character arc is just much better written. It is much better written.
All right, so for this first episode, I'm gonna give this a B+, because I think it was a very well done episode. They explored, like Sim was saying earlier, they explored like the depression of like Mark and Debbie. I'm sorry, yeah, you always want credit for stuff. But anyway, I like the way they explore like, and I don't even know how many episodes that's gonna run through, you know, the depression or whatever. Yeah. But that is like a major part of the aftermath of the battle between Omni-Man and Invincible. It's about like her being depressed. Now, another difference between the animated series and the comic books is that they really don't have that much money in the comic books. So like when Nolan dies, like people are like, all right, you guys need money, but here like Debbie's like a real estate agent or whatever, and she only became a real estate agent after the battle between Omni-Man and Invincible. But in this one, she already kind of had like the real estate thing going. So I guess they kind of just like took that out the way, and you don't really miss that in the animated series. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going B+ this first episode. What you got?
I would say B+ too. I mean, the visuals like on the animation, just like, you know, the open world, the blood, the action. It was all there, and then the acting was believable. So yeah, I give it an A.
You just said B plus.
Yeah. Oh, B plus. Sorry.
Which one is it? A or B plus?
B plus.
All right. so B plus. What you got?
I give it a B plus near an A for a for an opening of a next season. It's just a lot of good things to like commend about this first episode for the second season. Like John was saying earlier about or this guy right here was saying earlier about the exploration of Mark's depression after going through what he went through with his pop. I feel like in most superhero media, like things like depression don't get explored, and it really should be more often, because if you really like look at the things most superheroes go through, from like a more realistic perspective, you realize like a lot of stuff they go through is really traumatic. Like they gotta see a lot of people die, gotta make very hard decisions, very hard life decisions. They gotta juggle life with being a superhero.
And to me, like that's why in Harley Quinn, the animated series, like Jim Gordon being like totally like off his rocker in the beginning made so much sense. It's like come on, how could you really be sane being a non-superpowered commissioner in Gotham City?
I'm saying it's
like you got an alligator man running around that eats people.
Yeah.
You got a clown that like nobody would be in their right mind.
Yeah, like what they do a lot in comics is they glamorize, and that's the best word to use. They glamorize a lot that superhero lifestyle and make it seem like it's all peaches and cream, and at the end of the day I'm a hero, and like it's just sunshine and rainbows. But it's just like they never go through the mental state of most superheroes when they're going through this stuff, because like anybody who is a fan of superheroes knows. Just take my favorite superhero for example, Spider-Man. He's been through a lot, man. Been through a whole lot. Like, just like the man, he done lost. There's so much stuff he done been through that I can name. He done lost his girlfriend. His girlfriend might have died. His aunt done died before.
His uncle's murdered.
His uncle was murdered.
Basically his father.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you think about it, like, do they ever truly explore like Spider-Man's mental state while going through a lot of this? Like, you just gotta ask yourself that.
I think they do Spider-Man pretty good, because it's almost like Peter Parker never gets a break in like 60 years of like comic books.
Yeah, like he never gets a break. But I'm not saying like it's a bad thing, but just an observation. Like most superheroes, they go through stuff, and they rarely, the writers rarely ever delve into their mental psyche or into their psyche of what they're going through while they're experiencing traumatic events.
Right. And one point that, like, following up on what you're saying, like, the fact that, like, Cecil was saying, all right, I don't want you to go back out there because you need to heal.
Yeah. And
the first time he lets him back out, this big like, almost nuclear explosion. That too, John.
Like, the fact that they had another character acknowledge that somebody else that the main character went through something traumatic, that really never happens. Like, you never have other characters like, even if they do, I'd say, like, Spider-Man 2, the second movie with Tobey Maguire, I think is a good example of, like, them kind of sort of exploring, I think, or I put it like this, I think it's the best example of them kind of sort of exploring, like, the psyche of a superhero because like, he starts losing his powers because, like, it's all just catching up to him.
Right, well, he actually doesn't lose his powers. It's in his head.
Yeah, it's really in his head. So, but that ties to my whole point. It's just like them actually taking time to explore a superhero psyche and what they're going through, because it was in his head.
Right, because he's having like waking visions of Uncle Ben.
Yeah, he's having visions of Uncle. So it's like, mental health is like a big topic nowadays in today's society, because it's being acknowledged a lot more now. But I feel like for 2004, like that was kind of ahead of its time, because like especially in that time period, people's mental state, mental health wasn't really being explored or even acknowledged like that.
It wasn't even explored 10 years ago.
Yeah, so even 10 years ago. So it's like, I feel like that would be like one of the best examples. But I feel like right here in Invincible, like I feel like that might be the current best example to date, because I've never seen, even in Spider-Man 2, nobody actually, like, where it's like pointed out, like, actually acknowledged, like, hey, something might be wrong with Pete. Like, are you okay? Like
well, they don't really acknowledge that until the third one. Like even like the Mr. Ditkovich, the foreign dude that was running the apartment.
Yeah.
He's like Peter like snapped on him, and he was like, he's a good kid. Like something
he's
right,
a good
something
kid.
right with him.
But
You know what I mean? He like
and that was like
recognized it.
a real subtle moment. But you know, with Cecil and Mark in that scene, like Cecil's actually like talking to him like, nah, like you went through something. You need to take more than a month to get over this.
Right. But Cecil was doing it for personal, for like selfish reasons. Because remember, he's like, okay, if I let him back out there, I'm gonna put him on a short leash.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like he don't want another Omni-Man. Because
Right.
even in the Burger Mart when he was talking, he was like, yeah, you sound just like somebody else. He's like kind of like egging him on. Like, yeah, you sound just like.
Cecil's a bit of a sociopath. I think you can see that if you just pay attention to his character throughout the show, especially through the first season.
Right.
He's a little bit of a sociopath.
And going back to what you were saying like, about the constant like stuff that superheroes go through, the fact that the first time out that he's back out there, this huge disaster happens. You know, with the explosion.
So it's kind of like a 9/11 for that city.
Which about the Omni-Man versus?
The Omni-Man versus.
But I'm talking about like even this explosion of the machine that Angstrom Levy and
he had to watch a bunch of people die.
So this is like because he tried to convince himself and tried to convince Cecil, oh no, I need to be back out there. But then this disaster happens, and it's almost like again, and it's just like that's just the constant pound of like being a superhero. What Sam was talking about, and what I totally agree with. There's no way on earth like the Fantastic Four doesn't need like psychiatric help.
Yeah.
There's no way on earth like the X-Men. Come on, Wolverine. Come on, man.
Batman. I was just thinking.
Batman's the worst.
Example. He's a prime example.
One thing I was gonna say was like the only other time where I've seen somebody, animation where they showed like a superhero and they're exploring like their mental and their psyche is when they did the Injustice animated movie, which was basically they took the entire first game and kind of crammed it into a movie, which they took a lot of stuff out and then added some other stuff that didn't happen in the game. But there's one scene where they show where Nightwing died, and after that you just see Bruce Wayne, punching like this metal thing in his knuckle. He's punching it because he's trying to like figure out a way to process his son dying. So his hands, knuckles are bleeding, and Catwoman goes down there. And Superman like approaches Catwoman while she's stealing something. She's like, "Yo, you might want to check on him." And he was like, "Why don't you check on him?" He was like, "I can't. We're at each other's throats right now."
Right.
But his son died. So then that's one part of showing like even though Superman is like really evil now, he still cares about his best friend. So he sends Catwoman, and as you see, Batman is like figuring out the way to express his depression because his son died. His actual firstborn son killed his first adopted son.
Oh, Damian Wayne killed him?
Yeah, he killed him in the movie and in the game. Mm-hmm. So then when Catwoman, is comforting him, you just see Bruce like break down. She's taking off his mask. He's crying, because he's finally allowing himself to, let all of that emotion out. And I thought that was like a special moment because it's like you don't really see Batman crying like that.
I mean, because if somebody needed to be on a therapist's couch, of all the superheroes,
Wayne,
it would be Bruce Wayne and Wolverine.
He's been needing therapy since he was 10?
Yeah.
8?
Right. Because Wolverine has the healing factor, and that's why a lot of stuff he doesn't remember because his mind heals himself of the trauma.
He's lucky that he even has something like that.
Right.
Think about it. I just want to say this because it came to my mind as y'all was both talking about it. The recent Batman movie, the 2022 Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, they actually did pretty much the whole movie. They're exploring his mental state because he, you notice through the whole movie, he's still dealing with losing his parents, and on top of that, you realize the whole movie is him using fighting crime as a coping mechanism to deal with the loss of his parents. So I might have to retract my statement about not retract it, but just give credit to the Batman movie because they actually did. The whole movie is literally exploring his mental state and his grief of losing his parents. Keep in mind, by the time he's by the time the main story, takes place, he's a grown man, but he's still dealing with the trauma of losing his parents when he was 8 years old throughout the whole movie.
Right.
Until the end.
And see, unless you guys have watched the all kind of noises going on, what's that? Unless you've seen the deleted, not even the deleted scene, but the bonus scene with him talking to the Joker. You seen that, John?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Joker's Batman like gives him stuff, and the Joker's like, "Oh, you ain't figured this out yet?" He's like, ordinarily, he said, you would know all this stuff. And he's like, but something's different about this one. It's the fact that when he went to the crime scene, he saw a little boy. He saw the mayor's son, and like he's like focused on him. And like Alfred was, looking at the footage through his contacts, and he's like, this is a problem for Bruce because he's still that little boy. Like that's him. He's looking at himself basically. You know what I'm saying? So like, I totally agree with that. Like, and then like at the end of the movie, like he starts to like come out of it. Like he like looks right up at the sun when he couldn't do it earlier in the movie. He had to put shades on during the daytime. And like the one girl that was on the stretcher, she actually like reached out for him. Because at the beginning of the movie, right, and this isn't supposed to be about the Batman, it's supposed to be about the Invincible. This is where the discussion is going, so just roll with us, all right? But like at the beginning of the movie, I was like, this is Rorschach.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? Did you ever see Watchmen?
Yeah, it is.
I was like, this is Rorschach. This ain't even Batman right now. Like this is somebody that ain't got nothing to lose. It's still Batman, you know what I'm saying? But this is somebody that's like, all right, if I die, I die.
It's just, in that movie, they just actually humanize Batman. Because most of the time, you kind of blame the actual fans of Batman for it. But like, Batman, even though he's a human, they don't treat him like one. He never gets treated like an actual human being.
Right, because the fans make him MacGuffin, man. Yeah. It's like, oh, well, Batman would do something. How? Like, because I'm Batman. You know what I mean? They like live that. Like, oh, he got to figure it out.
Like, he's just, like, they pretty much treat him like he's Superman. He's a human being. It's like he can get through anything. But like, in that movie, they actually humanize him. Like, even when his first time trying to fly in suit, he messed up on that.
All right, but you know what I like about that? Like, he like hesitated for like the briefest instant.
He definitely did,
and I like that. I was like, so he ain't done this before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So this is first.
He thought about it. He was like, all right, we about to see what happens. Like when I hop off this building,
because it's not normal to dive head first off a building.
Yeah, like it's not normal. It's not a normal thing, and it's just like this. That's why I feel like a lot of people like would agree. It's just like. It might arguably be like right up there with the Dark Knight, with the Dark Knight, because like it's Batman, but it's a different take on Batman at the same time, and it explores things that other Batman movies have never explored about Batman and about Bruce Wayne.
All right, I'm gonna say this about the Dark Knight, and then we're gonna try to bring because I got a feeling this discussion could go out. You know what I'm saying? But to me, as far as like Batman movies go. Like, I don't even have The Dark Knight as number one. Like, I got Batman 1989 with, Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson as a Joker. I got Batman Begins, and I have The Batman because those three movies deal with Batman. And The Dark Knight, Batman is almost like a supporting character.
He really is. Joker's basically the main character.
It's basically the Joker's movie.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, why they dissing Batman like this? Like when Bruce Wayne went down there to turn himself in, and one guy's like, he should turn himself in. He's like, the guy with the funny voice. I'm like, wait a minute. Don't they know what this man has been doing? It's like the Joker and the mob had a better idea of what Batman was doing than the citizens did.
Actual people.
And Joker was like, you know why you guys want to meet in broad daylight? Like they were in a kitchen.
Yeah.
And he's like, you guys are scared because of the. He said he's changed. And then when the Joker was talking to Batman, he's like, you changed things. He's like, what am I gonna do? Rip off mob dealers again? He's like, no, that's boring. Because, and I'm like, Gotham City is the stupidest city. They don't even deserve a hero in Gotham City. But that's why they got Batman. All right, so we're gonna bring this video to a close. It's been a great time talking about Invincible, then it kind of divert into mental health, then talking about other superheroes, because we just love comic book stuff. We love superheroes, you know what I'm saying? Not in that way, pause. But, it's kind of like, it's kind of an escape, but at the same time, it deals with real life. It's kind of relatable, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can understand the story and the hardships of Bruce Wayne and Mark Grayson. And, trauma is real. Like, we all have trauma. All three of us sitting here have trauma, just in different, like, extremes. Or it's like a spectrum. Some have severe trauma. That's why it's called severe trauma. Some just have regular trauma. All right. But if you like the video, hit the like button. If not, hit the dislike button. All right. David Brent, please let them know where their comments go, sir.
Oh, all. I mean, down below.
No. David Brent will tell you where the comments go. Yeah, you can tell he don't watch my channel. No, I'm playing. But do your part, and I'll do my part to The Great Expanse by John Bat 420. See, you messing me up, man. You messing up my catchphrase. No, I'm playing. But do your part, I'll do my part to The Great Expanse by John Bat 426 can and will expand You want to finish it off? What's my last line?
I don't even remember.
It's in the name. Peace.